Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, English Listening Practice Podcast topic name is 35 plus C1 level vocabulary on weather for advanced English learners. I'm genuinely excited to guide you through today's deep dive. We're really going to unlock a world of precision in your language. Our mission, well, it's to enrich your lexicon with over 35 C1 level vocabulary words focused entirely on weather. Think of this as your shortcut to not just understanding, but truly mastering the nuanced ways we describe the world around us. It's about achieving greater fluency, and sophistication in English. Weather is more than just a daily forecast. It's a constant, a conversation starter, a force that shapes our moods, our plans, even our history, and understanding its subtleties in English that can profoundly elevate your communication. We're stepping far beyond just rainy or sunny today. We're diving into descriptive, evocative, and often metaphorical language that truly brings the atmosphere to life. And I'm incredibly fortunate to have our expert guide here to help us unpack every single one of these fascinating terms.
It's a genuine pleasure to be here, and I couldn't agree more. For any advanced learner, really, whether you're prepping for a C1 exam or just aiming to speak with greater depth, mastering thematic vocabulary like this is indispensable. Weather, in particular, is such an ideal subject because it's inherently rich in descriptive language. It's a topic that effortlessly blends scientific concepts, the intricate dynamics of our atmosphere, and even, the subtle nuances of human experience and emotion. As we explore these terms today, I believe you'll discover some truly surprising connections, not just to the natural world, but within the very fabric of the English language itself. It's really a testament to centuries of observation, this desire to articulate every whisper and roar of the sky.
That's a wonderful way to put it, articulating every whisper and roar. And speaking of observation and articulation, let's kick things off by exploring the scientific backbone of weather. We're talking about the foundational terms that help us grasp not just what the weather is, but the underlying mechanisms, the how and why it actually happens. Now, when we talk about weather, we frequently hear about meteorologists. What exactly does this science meteorology truly encompass, and what makes it so pivotal?
Well, at its core, meteorology is the scientific discipline dedicated to studying Earth's atmosphere. A significant emphasis is on weather forecasting, naturally. It's a fascinating field, really interdisciplinary. It draws heavily from physics, chemistry, even complex mathematics to unravel the intricate processes governing our atmospheric systems. Essentially, meteorologists are like detectives of the sky. They observe current conditions, analyze vast amounts of data, and then apply scientific models to predict future weather patterns.
So it's far more than just glancing at a radar screen then. There's some deep scientific inquiry happening, understanding the very engine of our planet's atmosphere. And I imagine its practical applications are just immense, extending way beyond telling us if we need an umbrella, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about its crucial role in aviation, for instance. A life-saving role. Pilots depend entirely on accurate meteorological forecasts for safe flights. The stakes couldn't be higher. A miscalculation regarding wind shear or unexpected turbulence or the precise path of a storm, well, it can have catastrophic consequences. It's truly remarkable how much we, as passengers, implicitly trust these forecasts, often without fully appreciating the incredible scientific rigor behind them.
That's a powerful illustration. We just step onto a plane assuming everything's fine. But behind that is this massive enterprise of meteorological analysis. What sort of deeper phenomena might students of meteorology be immersing themselves in?
Well, students pursuing meteorology will, for example, delve into the intricacies of large-scale atmospheric circulations, things like cyclones and anticyclones. They're learning the complex dynamics of these vast systems. Cyclones, often associated with stormy, cloudy conditions, are basically huge air masses rotating around a center of low atmospheric pressure. Anticyclones, on the other hand, are their calmer counterparts. High-pressure systems typically bring clear, settled weather. Understanding the formation, movement, interaction of these core structures is absolutely central to accurate forecasting. But beyond just prediction, modern meteorology is even grappling with things like the ethics of geoengineering, actively exploring, sometimes experimenting with ways to manipulate weather, maybe to mitigate climate change effects. And that raises a whole host of profound questions many people don't consider when they just check the daily forecast.
Wow, so it's not just observing what the weather is, but potentially altering it. That has truly mind-boggling implications. And it sounds like the ongoing advancements in this field have tangible, real-world consequences, beyond just packing a jacket.
They certainly do. Advances in meteorology have dramatically enhanced disaster preparedness in vulnerable regions across the globe. By offering earlier, more precise warnings for things like hurricanes, typhoons, severe blizzards, meteorological science directly contributes to saving lives, enabling timely evacuations, minimizing economic damage. The deeper insight for you, the listener, is that this intricate science isn't just abstract. It directly underpins public safety, resource allocation, even international aid efforts on a global scale. It's an invisible guardian in many ways.
It's incredible to think how much effort goes into something we often just glance at on our phone or hear in a brief report. And speaking of invisible forces, moving from meteorology, we frequently encounter the term atmospheric pressure. What's truly fascinating here is its direct, yet often imperceptible impact on our perception of weather and even our physical well-being. Can you illuminate what atmospheric pressure actually signifies?
Atmospheric pressure is, well, quite simply, the force exerted on Earth's surface by the weight of the atmosphere above it. Picture a colossal column of air stretching from where you are right now all the way up into space. That immense column of air has mass, and gravity pulls it downwards, creating pressure on everything beneath it. It's an omnipresent yet invisible force, and it's a powerful, often overlooked driver of virtually all weather systems.
So it's quite literally the weight of the air pressing down on us. That's a very vivid way to think about it. How does this invisible force actually manifest in the weather patterns we observe?
Well, a classic and highly reliable indicator is that low atmospheric pressure very often precedes stormy weather. When the pressure drops, it generally signals that warmer, moist air is rising. As this air ascends, it cools, leading to condensation, cloud formation, and ultimately precipitation. This relationship is a foundational predictive tool for forecasters. It lets them anticipate when conditions are likely to worsen. Historically, the invention of the barometer back in the 17th century, that was a revolutionary step. It gave us a tangible way to measure and track this invisible force and its connection to weather.
So a noticeable drop in pressure often means things are brewing, so to speak. Does this have any more direct, even personal impacts that we might feel?
Yes, very much so. For instance, mountaineers meticulously monitor atmospheric pressure to mitigate the risks of altitude sickness. As you ascend, the atmospheric pressure diminishes, meaning there's less oxygen available. Understanding these changes is absolutely critical for safety and health at high altitudes. And, in a more everyday context, for some individuals, significant changes in atmospheric pressure can even trigger migraines or joint pain. So that scientific concept becomes very tangible and personal. It demonstrates its physiological effects on our bodies.
I know a few people who swear they can feel a storm coming because of a headache. Now that connection makes perfect sense. Here's where it really gets compelling them. Thinking about those colossal air masses and how pressure influences them. What actually happens when two distinct air masses collide? That's when we talk about a front, isn't it?
That's right. A front is the dynamic boundary zone where two air masses, each with different temperatures and moisture content, meet and interact. These atmospheric collisions are absolutely fundamental to understanding many of the rapid weather shifts we experience. They are, in essence, battlegrounds of the atmosphere.
So it's like a dividing line, a dynamic frontier in the sky, where two different atmospheric personalities converge. What kind of changes can we anticipate when a front makes its way through?
Well, let's take a cold front, for instance, approaching from the north. It typically brings sharp temperature drops. That's because of the denser, colder air wedges quickly underneath the warmer air, forcing that warmer air to rise rapidly. This uplift often leads to dramatic weather, think intense thunderstorms, squally winds, heavy but often brief rain. It's a clear and often swift cause and effect.
Right, very dramatic.
On the other hand, a warm front tends to be more gradual. The warmer air slowly glides up and over the colder air. This leads to more widespread, often prolonged precipitation, and sometimes extensive fog across the region. And then there are occluded fronts, which are even more complex. They form when a cold front overtakes a warm front, essentially blending their characteristics. They can bring prolonged, mixed weather, a real challenge for forecasters.
That paints a much clearer picture. So meteorologists are essentially tracking these boundaries, these invisible lines, to anticipate how the weather's going to unfold.
Precisely. Forecasters track these frontal systems meticulously to predict storm developments accurately. They use a sophisticated array of tools, satellite imagery, ground-based radar, atmospheric soundings, all to monitor the movement, intensity, and potential impacts. This continuous monitoring is absolutely vital for issuing timely warnings and advisories, helping communities prepare.
Absolutely fascinating. And what are these air masses, these fronts, ultimately made of? Well, in part, they contain vapor, often invisible, yet utterly essential to almost every weather phenomenon. Can you clarify what we mean by vapor in this context?
Sure. Vapor refers to extremely small liquid droplets or gaseous forms of a substance suspended in the air. Most commonly water, of course. It's typically the result of a liquid being heated and evaporating. While often invisible to the naked eye, its presence in the atmosphere is monumental. It plays an outsized foundational role in atmospheric processes.
That's a great distinction, outsized role, for something we often can't even see. But we can witness its effects in daily life, can't we?
We certainly can. Consider the visible steam rising from a hot cup of tea. That releases vapor that fogs up your kitchen windows. That's a simple, relatable example of evaporation and condensation right there. It's the same fundamental physics, just scaled up dramatically in the atmosphere. Or when you breathe out on a very cold day and you see your breath. That's your body's water vapor condensing into tiny visible droplets.
So from a steamy teacup to our own breath, that misty quality is vapor. And how does this microscopic thing connect to the grander weather picture?
Water vapor in the atmosphere is absolutely critical for cloud formation. As warm, moist air ascends and cools, the water vapor in it reaches saturation point and condenses into minuscule droplets or ice crystals. These coalesce to form clouds. It is, without exaggeration, a cornerstone of the entire water cycle and virtually every process leading to precipitation. And the term isn't just for water. For instance, the vapor coming from a volcano could indicate ongoing geological activity. It shows the term's versatility for various gaseous emissions.
So from a simple exhalation to volcanic plumes to the vast clouds above, vapor is fundamental, everywhere, doing so much work. And weather isn't static, is it? It's dynamic, ever-changing, always moving. So let's transition now to some powerful verbs that capture this essence, describing how weather acts, moves, and transforms.
An excellent shift. These verbs really inject life into our descriptions. They let us express the nuances of weather's motion, its constant evolution, moves us beyond static observations.
There's really nothing quite like that feeling, is there? That hope and relief when the weather finally starts to clear up after a long stretch of gloom. Such a universally welcome change.
It absolutely is. To clear up, in a weather context, means becoming free of clouds, rain, or storms. It carries a distinctly positive connotation, represents an improvement. We often use it when anticipating a welcome transition from bad weather to something nicer, a sense of things literally brightening.
I can certainly relate to that relief. Imagine planning an outdoor event and it's been drizzling all morning.
Precisely. If, after hours of drizzle, the sky finally began to clear up, it signals your picnic could proceed. Shows the verb in a pivotal transitional context, a positive shift. Similarly, meteorologists often predict a storm will clear up by evening. Offers reassurance, eases commuter worries about their journey home. It impacts daily practicalities.
So it's about anticipation and relief. Can it also describe a more gradual, almost artistic transformation?
Oh, without a doubt. The fog, for example, might slowly start to clear up as the sun rises higher, gradually revealing mountain peaks. This usage beautifully captures a slower, more deliberate process. Links the atmospheric action to natural cycles like sunrise, the patient dissipation of mist, transforms a veiled landscape into clarity.
From clearing skies to subtle movement through the air to drift has a much gentler, almost poetic quality, doesn't it? Suggests unhurried, aimless motion.
It certainly does. To drift conveys moving slowly, often aimlessly, in air or on water, usually without a strong driving force. It evokes a sense of ease, a lack of urgent direction, a feeling of being carried along by gentle currents.
So not aggressively push, but floating along gracefully. What are some vivid examples in a weather context?
Imagine snowflakes beginning to drift lazily from the sky, gently blanketing the ground. This immediately conjures a peaceful, tranquil, almost ethereal wintry scene. However, to drift isn't always benign. Smoke from a distant wildfire might continue to drift over a city, slowly reducing air quality, causing health concerns. Here, it conveys an unintended, often harmful, spread due to gentle winds. Highlights subtle yet pervasive environmental concerns.
That's a powerful contrast, shows the word's versatility, and it applies equally to movement on water, I suppose.
Yes, very much so. You might see leaves beginning to drift along a river's surface in autumn, especially after heavy rain. This connects the verb to water movement, illustrates seasonal changes, natural fluidity, often a sense of objects carried effortlessly by the current, revealing the river's silent power.
When the weather doesn't clear up, though, we might unfortunately find ourselves completely soaked. A very vivid, often uncomfortable experience most of us can relate to.
Indeed. To soak means to make someone or something extremely wet, to point of complete saturation. It conveys an intensity far beyond merely damp or moist. It implies a thorough, inescapable drenching.
Like being caught totally off guard, perhaps? That sudden downpour experience?
A very relatable experience, certainly. A sudden, unexpected rainstorm might manage to soak everyone at an outdoor concert, vividly highlighting an intense, often inconvenient wetting. But the term isn't always accidental. Gardeners, for example, intentionally use hoses to soak the soil deeply during dry spells, ensuring roots get adequate moisture. Here, it's purposeful, shows practical utility in agriculture or gardening.
So it can be both unexpected and deliberate, but it definitely implies complete, thorough saturation.
Absolutely. Her clothes were utterly soaked after walking through that heavy downpour without an umbrella. This example focuses on personal experience, clearly illustrates the uncomfortable consequences of being unprepared.
And after the intense wetness of rain, let's shift focus to the cold. What happens when it gradually warms up after a deep freeze? Things begin to thaw, a beautifully nuanced word for a critical transition.
To thaw means for something to become softer or turn liquid, specifically transitioning from a frozen or hardened state. It encapsulates that gradual change from solid ice to flowing water, or from rigid cold to pliable softness. It's a word that speaks to release and renewal.
It truly sounds like liberation, doesn't it? A natural softening after harshness.
It does. Think of the spring sunshine beginning to thaw a frozen lake. Marks a clear seasonal transition, initiates the natural melting process. In a more practical sense, you might use a heater to thaw frozen pipes after a severe freeze. Demonstrates a problem-solving application against cold damage. The word often implies a slow return to a more fluid state.
Those are excellent practical examples, but I've also heard thaw used quite effectively in non-weather contexts, which I find really quite intriguing.
What's truly fascinating here is how powerfully weather vocabulary extends to human situations, abstract concepts. For instance, relations between two countries might begin to thaw after years of political tension. This metaphorical use perfectly captures the idea of a gradual warming, a softening of previously rigid or hostile interactions, moving towards understanding or cooperation. It's a testament to the descriptive richness of these weather terms, allows us to articulate complex human dynamics with vivid imagery.
That's a fantastic example of how weather language deepens our broader communication. Now, let's talk about the wet stuff: rain, snow, all their diverse forms. From gentle showers to absolute torrents, English provides such an expansive vocabulary for precipitation.
Indeed, the English language offers an incredibly rich palette for describing water in its atmospheric forms. Reflects its profound impact on our landscapes, routines, survival.
Let's start with the sheer power of falling water. When we talk about downpour, cloudburst, and torrent, these aren't just synonyms for heavy rain. They each seem to convey a distinct intensity, right? A different kind of statement. How do we differentiate them?
That's an excellent point. While closely related, they each carry a specific nuance. A downpour is a brief yet notably heavy rainfall. Key elements: intensity and relatively short duration. You experience it, it's powerful, then often passes. Not a drizzle, a significant burst.
So you know it when it happens, sudden and dramatic in its arrival.
Precisely. A downpour can quickly flood streets, causing temporary chaos, depicting its immediate, intense effects, often overwhelming drainage. Yet it's not always negative. Farmers might genuinely rejoice at a downpour after a drought, provides much-needed life-sustaining water, highlights a crucial alternative perspective. Heavy rain can be profoundly positive.
So context is everything. And what about a cloudburst? Sounds like the sky just breaks open, a dramatic image.
It does, and that's apt. A cloudburst is an extraordinarily sudden and exceptionally heavy rainfall. Often, but not always, very short duration. The term emphasizes both abrupt onset and overwhelming quantity of water in a localized area, like a downpour, but often even more extreme in unexpectedness and volume.
So not just heavy rain, it's shockingly heavy rain, often localized.
Exactly. The suddenness and volume can be devastating. A cloudburst can overwhelm drainage systems in minutes, leading to rapid flash flooding, surface inundation, underscores the swift strain on infrastructure, speed of impact. If you're hiking, being caught in a cloudburst without proper gear could quickly become very dangerous. Hypothermia, being swept away.
So preparedness is absolutely essential outdoors. But can a cloudburst ever offer a positive outcome despite its intensity?
It certainly can. A brief but intense cloudburst can remarkably refresh a parched landscape, especially after a dry spell. In such instances, it highlights a rejuvenating effect, a sudden lifeline for nature where an intensity is profoundly beneficial, relief for thirsty soil and plants.
And finally, a torrent. This seems beyond just rain falling. speaks to the sheer power of moving water. A roaring, forceful stream.
You're right. A torrent describes a powerful, fast-moving stream of water, or any liquid, really. Emphasis is unequivocally on immense force and high velocity. The word itself comes from Latin terrere, to parch, implying a dry bed suddenly filled.
So not just a large amount of water, but water with incredible momentum, destructive potential. Can this apply to man-made situations too?
Yes. For example, a torrent from a burst water pipe can quickly flood a basement, powerfully conveys speed, volume, destructive potential in a man-made disaster. Geologically, over centuries, powerful mountain torrents carved deep valleys, showcasing sustained erosive power over vast timescales, an incredible demonstration.
That's a truly amazing way to visualize the power in that word. And then back to more immediate effects from heavy rain.
Indeed. Heavy rain can transform a gentle stream into a raging torrent surprisingly quickly. Illustrates the dramatic, often dangerous metamorphosis water can undergo due to intense rain. Highlights the dynamic, sometimes volatile nature of water flow.
And once all that water falls, whether downpour or gentle rain, we often get the aftermath puddles. A quintessential image after rain, often brings back childhood memories.
Indeed. A puddle is simply a small pool of water or other liquid, usually rainwater, collecting on a surface. Road, sidewalk, field. A common, typically temporary accumulation.
I certainly remember the sheer joy of jumping in puddles as a kid. Simple, universal delight.
That's a beautiful shared memory. Children joyfully jumping in puddles, splashing water everywhere, captures that innocent interaction. In a more descriptive sense, a puddle on the sidewalk might beautifully reflect city neon lights at night, using the word for visual, aesthetic effects, transforming mundane water into a fleeting mirror.
So practical and aesthetic, and of course sometimes they're less about joy, more an obstacle.
Absolutely. You'll often hear practical advice. Avoid stepping in that deep puddle to keep your shoes dry. Connects the term to everyday navigation after weather events. Underscores its role in influencing choices.
And for those in colder climates, when snow falls and wind picks up, we get a snowdrift, a beautifully descriptive word for a specific, often majestic winter phenomenon.
A snowdrift is a mass of deep snow piled up by wind action. Crucial element. It's not just fallen snow, it's snow redistributed and accumulated by wind's persistent force, often forming distinct, sometimes substantial formations. Combine snow and drift, emphasizing wind-driven movement.
That distinction is important. The wind's relentless influence crafts the drift. What kind of impact do these typically have?
They can be quite formidable, obstructive. A large snowdrift might completely block a driveway, even a road, requiring hours of strenuous shoveling. Highlights practical challenges, daily effort demanded. On a natural note, animals, smaller ones, often burrow into snowdrifts for warmth and shelter during storms. Demonstrates fascinating survival adaptation, skillfully using snow's insulating properties.
That's a wonderful detail. Truly illustrates nature's adaptations. Can these formations also possess a certain beauty?
Yes, very much so. Wind, acting like a natural sculptor, can craft snowdrifts into artistic flowing shapes along fences or across fields. Describes aesthetic or formative aspects, transforming simple snow accumulation into something visually striking, often elegant. Transient sculptures tested to wind's power and artistry.
From the wonders of water falling, let's shift focus to air movement itself, the wind. From gentle caresses to destructive forces, English truly has a term for every kind of gust.
Air movement, wind, is critical and ubiquitous in weather systems. These terms let us precisely differentiate between subtle whispers and powerful roars, each with distinct impacts.
Starting strong, a gale isn't just strong wind, it's truly a force to be reckoned with. What precisely distinguishes a gale?
A gale denotes a very powerful wind, specifically implying sustained strength capable of significant disruption or even damage. A considerable step up from a strong breeze, often falls within specific ranges on the Beaufort scale. Wind strong enough to make sailing difficult or dangerous.
So not merely blustery, genuinely impactful, demands respect.
Without question. A gale might uproot mature trees, sever power lines overnight, vividly depicting destructive force, physical impacts on infrastructure and nature. For those at sea, sailors frequently battle gales navigating treacherous waters, highlighting immense dangers, difficulties, resilience required.
I can only imagine the peril, the skill needed, so it necessitates significant preparation, sea and land.
Absolutely. Warnings for impending gale immediately prompt residents in exposed areas to secure homes, properties. Emphasizes necessary precautions. Tying down furniture, reinforcing structures, aiming to minimize harm.
From a powerful straight wind to one that spins with ferocity, a whirlwind. A truly dramatic, often terrifying event. Sounds violent by nature.
It is indeed. A whirlwind is a very strong wind that spins rapidly, moves quickly, often causing damage. Defined by distinctive rotation, frequently localized destructive trajectory. The word itself paints a picture of intense, spiraling energy.
So, akin to a miniature tornado, perhaps?
In essence, yes. Sharing that core rotation. A whirlwind might tear through a farm, scattering debris. Depicting its destructive path, rapid speed, trail of chaos. What's particularly fascinating, though, is its rich metaphorical use. A new relationship or intense activity can be a whirlwind romance or whirlwind tour, signifying something incredibly intense, fast-moving, often short-lived like a storm. Extends beyond literal weather to capture rapid, eventful, tumultuous life periods.
That's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? Perfectly encapsulates that feeling of something intense, swiftly unfolding. Are all whirlwinds as destructive as tornadoes?
Not necessarily. Dust devils are smaller whirlwinds, common in arid regions. They can pick up dust, light debris, create a spectacle, but are typically far less powerful, destructive than larger tornadoes, though they share the spinning characteristic. Specifies a milder variant, highlights geographical context, shows a spectrum within this category.
After gales and whirlwinds, let's appreciate something far more pleasant. A breezy day. Such a lovely, light, inviting word.
It's a wonderful contrast, isn't it? Breezy describes conditions with a gentle, refreshing wind. Instantly evokes lightness, comfort, often invigoration. Stark opposition to a gale's intensity. Etymology suggests a soft, whispering quality.
It's precisely the kind of weather that lifts spirits, makes you feel good.
That's a perfect description. A breezy afternoon, for example, is often perfect for kite flying. Immediately conjures positive connotation for leisure, simple pleasures. Breezy conditions can also be incredibly beneficial, helping cool down humid air, demonstrating a welcome effect, providing relief from other uncomfortable elements, making a stifling day more tolerable.
That's very true, especially in summer. Brings freshness, movement, even indoors.
Indeed. You might instinctively open windows to enjoy a breezy evening. Common domestic use linking to comfort, natural air circulation, fresh air in your space suggests relaxation.
When winds gather and the atmosphere truly brews, we might see a thundercloud looming ominously. Truly impressive, often menacing formations.
They absolutely are. A thundercloud, technically cumulonimbus, is very large, dense, dark, capable of producing thunder, lightning, heavy precipitation, often hail. A distinct, recognizable cloud type, known for towering, often anvil-shaped structure, unmistakably ominous appearance, signaling powerful atmospheric instability.
You definitely know when one's on the horizon. Builds palpable anticipation, sometimes apprehension.
It absolutely does. A thundercloud looming ominously promises a storm, immediately building tension in any weather description. This is precisely why pilots are rigorously trained to meticulously avoid thunderclouds. To prevent severe turbulence, powerful updrafts, downdrafts, dangerous hail, highlights critical aviation safety. These clouds are significant hazards.
So a profound visual warning demanding respect. And what fascinating, powerful phenomena happen within these colossal clouds?
Within these massive formations, intense electrical activity culminates in lightning flashing repeatedly, reveals powerful internal electrical processes, hallmark of these storm systems. Charge separation leads to dramatic discharges, often visible as brilliant streaks.
And from those impressive thunderclouds, we get the dramatic, often startling sound of a thunderclap. Frequently sudden, incredibly powerful.
A thunderclap is one single, often very loud, explosive sound heard when thunder strikes. Acoustic result of rapid, superheated air expansion along a lightning bolt's path. Air heats so quickly it creates a shockwave, perceived as that sharp, cracking sound.
I remember one time a sudden thunderclap startled our sleeping dog right out of a deep nap. Quite a moment.
That's a perfect example of the surprise element. Abruptness and sheer volume can be quite impactful, startling humans and animals alike, demonstrating powerful effect on senses. And due to its raw power, a thunderclap can dramatically echo through a valley, reverberating between geological formations, showcasing impressive acoustic effect, descriptive power, and vast landscapes.
Almost like nature's own dramatic drum solo, and I vividly recall as a child counting seconds after lightning to figure out storm distance. Felt like a game.
Ah, yes, classic and practical observation technique. Children and adults often count seconds after lightning to tell thunder to gauge distance. Rule of thumb, 5 seconds roughly 1 mile, or 3 seconds per kilometer. Common educational game, surprisingly accurate real-world physics, helps understand storm progression, proximity.
Beyond science and dramatic actions, weather isn't just objective data, it's profoundly about what we see and feel. Interacts directly with our senses. So let's delve into words capturing this subjective sensory experience.
This takes us squarely into our lived experience, exploring how weather interfaces with perception, influences moods, shapes daily activities. These words paint pictures, evoke feelings.
Perhaps one of the most practical, immediately impactful terms is visibility. We use it constantly, particularly discussing travel or safety.
Visibility refers to the maximum distance possible or clear to see, especially considering prevailing atmospheric conditions. Absolutely crucial term, directly linked to sight, how clearly we perceive surroundings, informs ability to navigate, react.
Undeniably incredibly important for safety, I imagine, across many contexts.
Absolutely. Poor visibility during a blizzard forces drivers to dramatically reduce speed, exercise extreme caution, directly illustrates safety impacts in extreme weather, profound limitations on vision. Similarly, pilots meticulously check visibility reports before every takeoff, ensure safe navigation, adhere to regulations. In aviation, this term underscores immense technical importance, non-negotiable safety parameter.
So a quantifiable, utterly critical measure. What about more subtle yet still significant reductions?
The morning mist along the coast can reduce visibility to just a few meters, transforming the familiar landscape into softened, ethereal scene. Describes common, often atmospheric effect, emphasizes how even gentle conditions significantly impact perception, underscore need for awareness, especially for mariners.
When visibility drops dramatically, creating a tangible sense of being enclosed, we often describe conditions as dense. Such a descriptive word for that feeling of being almost physically surrounded.
Dense is very often used for fog or smoke that's exceptionally thick, difficult to see through. Immediately implies significant, almost impenetrable obstruction to vision. Creates powerful feeling of being enveloped to disoriented. Etymology ties to thickness, compactness.
So not just a little foggy, truly opaque and disorienting. What are some serious consequences?
Dense fog can utterly envelop a harbor, bringing ship departures to a standstill, significantly impacting transportation, commerce, supply chains. In broader contexts, dense smoke from a large wildfire, even if not strictly weather, can drastically reduce visibility. Linking term to non-weather hazards where visual obstruction is paramount for safety.
And how do people typically respond, adapt to such profoundly obscured conditions?
Drivers, quite rightly, must navigate with extreme care through dense mist or fog. Emphasizing heightened caution, reduced speed absolutely required to ensure safety, demands heightened awareness, slower reactions.
A slightly softer, perhaps more atmospheric version is misty. Often evokes a different feeling, almost enchanting or mysterious rather than purely obstructive.
Misty describes conditions with a mist cover, creating a soft, somewhat blurred, veiled look. While still affecting visibility, often possesses distinct aesthetic quality, softening harsh edges, diffusing light, rather than just overtly obscuring.
Yes, I can imagine it adding a specific, often contemplative mood.
Precisely. A misty morning can lend an ethereal, almost magical quality to landscape, creating profound sense of beauty, mystery, tranquility. However, despite this appeal, even misty conditions can make driving hazardous, especially on winding roads, hilly terrain. Reminder that reduced visibility, any form, inherently carries safety concerns.
So beauty and potential danger can coexist. Does mist play a role in other atmospheric processes?
It absolutely does. Dew, for instance, often forms in misty air as temperatures drop overnight. Directly connects term to specific processes. Shows how mist presence contributes to moisture deposition, creating that sparkling, dewy appearance on grass.
And adding another layer to reduce visibility, hazy. Often brings a distinct feeling of shimmering heat or a kind of dreamlike blur.
Hazy specifically describes air difficult to see through due to various factors. Heat, mist, or fine dust particles, broader in causation than just fog or mist, encompassing range of particles or thermal effects, diffusing light, blurring distant objects.
So it could be a particularly dusty day or intensely hot one, creating this specific visual effect.
You've understood it perfectly. Hazy skies, often from pollution or distant wildfires, can significantly obscure mountain views, attributing cause to environmental factors, highlighting how human activity or natural events impact visibility. Alternatively, hazy afternoon heat can create a shimmering effect over roads, describing visual illusion by temperature gradients, distorting perception.
I've definitely seen that heat shimmer on roads can be quite disorienting. Practical implications when conditions are hazy.
Drivers recognizing reduced clarity often use headlights in hazy dawn or dusk light, even if not extremely dark. crucial safety measure to increase vehicle visibility, better perceive surroundings, adapting to diminished transparency.
Moving from literal visibility to light quality, a dull day distinctly lacks vibrant energy, doesn't it? Not necessarily gloomy, but simply subdued.
Exactly. Dull weather or sky refers to conditions consistently overcast, heavily clouded, or lacking brightness. Vivid light strongly implies muted, softened light quality rather than absolute darkness, often affecting color perception.
Certainly has a profound effect on the day's atmosphere, doesn't it? Influences how we perceive surroundings.
Unquestionably does. A dull, overcast sky can cast a somber or muted mood over an outdoor event, directly influencing ambiance, sometimes spirits. Dull weather can also regrettably persist throughout a week, offering no sunshine glimpses, describing prolonged conditions lacking variation or stimulating brightness.
I can relate. After days of dull weather, you genuinely crave sunshine. Interestingly, I've heard some people actually prefer it.
You're quite right. Some genuinely prefer dull days for indoor reading or creative work. Softer, diffused light can be less strenuous on eyes, eliminate harsh shadows, offer surprising positive spin, shows personal preferences influenced by weather.
Taking dull significantly further, gloomy weather really gets at the emotional weight. Not just absence of light, but palpable oppression or sadness weather seems to embody.
Gloomy weather describes conditions dark, overcast in a way that's distinctly depressing or dispiriting, strongly emphasizes emotional aspect, drawing direct, often powerful connection between external conditions and internal mood. Etymology suggests darkness, lack of cheer.
So if you're already feeling down, gloomy weather can amplify that, can it? Almost mirroring your internal state.
It absolutely can. Gloomy weather often resonates with a melancholic mood, drawing direct emotional parallel between environment and feelings, as if sky shares your sadness. Moreover, gloomy skies frequently threaten rain all afternoon, carrying tangible predictive element. Dark, heavy clouds often unmistakably indicate impending rain, adding to foreboding sense.
And it can affect more than just human emotions, broader impacts too.
Yes. Plants, for instance, can visibly struggle in prolonged gloomy conditions due to insufficient sunlight, highlight biological effects of persistent lack of brightness, how such weather impedes growth, vitality, health, and nature, demonstrating broader impact beyond human perception.
But let's not end on gloom. The absolute opposite is glorious weather. A truly splendid description almost immediately brings a smile. Embodies pure joy.
Glorious as weather is conditions exceptionally hot and sunny, representing ideal, highly desirable, often celebrated state, carries incredibly strong positive connotations. Splendor, magnificence, sheer delight. Root is glory, truly elevates it.
Just sounds inherently wonderful, doesn't it? Quintessential day we all dream of.
Indeed. One might say we basked in the glorious sunshine at the beach. Perfectly highlights pure enjoyment, relaxation, leisure afforded by ideal conditions. Such glorious weather also frequently boosts attendance at outdoor festivals, events, directly connecting to positive social economic impacts. People more inclined to participate outdoors.
I can see how good weather encourages people out, active, engaged.
And beyond human enjoyment, a garden truly flourishes under glorious summer rays, underscoring pivotal role promoting robust growth, vitality in nature, ample sunlight, warmth essential for healthy plants, successful harvests.
Now, let's dramatically turn up and dial down the thermometer. From scorching heat to utterly freezing cold, English vocabulary captures the full, astonishing range of temperatures, profound sensations they evoke.
Temperature extremes are powerful forces, profoundly affect us, infrastructure, environment. No surprise we possess such rich, descriptive vocabulary for their manifestations.
Starting with intense heat, a baking sun you can almost physically feel the heat hearing the word, conjures specific, sustained, often uncomfortable warmth.
Baking describes intense, pervasive heat level, frequently uncomfortable, almost oppressive, vividly evokes sensation of sustained high temperature, akin to oven heat, feeling slowly cooked.
So not just warm, overwhelming, pervasive heat.
Precisely. Baking sun can render outdoor work virtually unbearable in afternoon. Vividly describes profound discomfort, physical strain from high temperatures. Often necessitates coping strategies, like seeking deep shade from baking temperatures during heat wave to prevent overheating.
And this sustained heat must have broader environmental consequences beyond human discomfort.
Absolutely. Baking conditions significantly accelerate evaporation of crucial water sources, leading to rapidly drying soil, dangerously low river lake levels, increased drought risk. Directly ties term to significant environmental impacts, ecological stress, affecting everything from agriculture to wildlife.
Taking that discomfort even further, scorching heat is truly intense, suggesting heat that can even cause harm, literally burn.
Scorching weather or temperature denotes extremely hot conditions, capable of intense heat, significant discomfort, often at the point of potentially burning, blistering, causing plants to wither. Implies notably greater extremity, potential danger than baking. Etymology connects to burning, charring.
So this is where it really starts getting dangerous for people, animals, complex systems like infrastructure.
You're exactly right. Scorching heat waves can place immense strain on city power grids, as AC units work continuously at maximum, highlighting significant infrastructure stress, potential for blackouts. Consequently, tourists in scorching desert regions often avoid midday outings, demonstrating essential behavioral adaptations for safety, comfort.
And the impact on agriculture would be absolutely devastating, I imagine.
Without a doubt, scorching conditions can rapidly wither, destroy crops prematurely, leading to significant agricultural damage, food security issues, potentially impacting entire regional food supplies, economies.
And we even have the emphatic phrase, scorching hot, for when it's truly unbearable. Sounds redundant, but definitely stresses extreme severity.
It does. Scorching hot reinforces highest heat degree, often implying even greater, almost intolerable impact. Phrase used for strong emphasis when heat genuinely at absolute peak. No ambiguity about intensity.
So a scorching hot day would dramatically influence daily life, consumer behavior.
Absolutely. Scorching hot days often lead to significant increase in ice cream sales, directly connecting extreme weather to immediate economic effects as people seek ways to cool down. Athletes frequently train indoors or modify schedules to avoid scorching hot conditions, detailing crucial health precautions to prevent heat stroke, exhaustion during intense activity.
And it's the kind of heat you feel just touching surfaces, very visceral.
Precisely. Scorching hot pavement can literally burn bare feet. Highly relatable, immediate physical sensation vividly conveys temperature intensity, makes scientific concept of heat conductivity very tangible.
And now to the polar opposite extreme, freezing cold. A shiver-inducing phrase. Immediately makes you want to bundle up.
Freezing cold denotes extremely low temperature, very often at or substantially below freezing point. Powerfully implies severe, penetrating cold that can quickly become dangerous. Intensity suggests discomfort, potential harm, need for significant protection.
So not just chilly, profoundly, seriously cold. Where would we typically encounter this intensity?
Freezing cold winds relentlessly whip through Arctic expeditions, accurately describing pervasive presence in extreme polar environments, immense harshness, survival challenges. In daily life, we instinctively bundle up against freezing cold morning air, detailing necessary preparation, immediate physical response to protect from biting temperatures, prevent frostbite.
Certainly forces significant adaptations in clothing, routines, but are there any benefits, perhaps unexpected ones, to such extreme cold?
Interestingly, yes. Historically, freezing cold temperatures play a critical role preserving food naturally, long before modern refrigeration. Provides fascinating, positive, practical application, highlighting role in natural preservation, importance in human history, especially colder climates storing food through long winters.
Between those extremes, many actively seek a temperate, climate-balanced, agreeable middle ground. Sounds comfortable, livable.
Temperate describes region or climate with temperature range never excessively cold nor excessively hot, defined by moderate, mild, balanced conditions, successfully avoiding harshness, challenges of intense heat, severe cold. Word itself suggests equilibrium, moderation.
Truly sounds ideal for many, especially those who've experienced extremes. Key benefits of living in such a climate.
Temperate zones, remarkably productive, able to support diverse agriculture year-round, linking climate directly to significant economic agricultural benefits due to consistent favorable growing conditions. Primary reason, these regions often densely populated. People also frequently relocate to temperate climates for health reasons, seeking more agreeable, less stressful environment for overall well-being.
So profoundly influences lifestyle choices, economic stability, personal health decisions.
Absolutely. Temperate weather typically allows comfortable outdoor sports, recreation in virtually all seasons, highlights considerable lifestyle advantages. Climate consistently supports wide range of outdoor pursuits without limiting factors of extreme heat or debilitating cold.
Finally, let's zoom out, discuss overarching weather qualities, inherent unpredictability, profound, often life-altering impact on human life, societies globally.
This section ties together many preceding points. moving beyond specific vocabulary to broader concepts, fundamentally defining our intricate relationship with weather, atmosphere.
The one immutable constant about weather is its changeability. Absolutely keeps us on our toes, forcing constant adaptation.
Changeability refers to inherent quality or strong likelihood of changing suddenly, frequently. For weather, speaks of fundamental instability, often rapid succession of vastly different conditions in short time frame. Essence of variability.
Particularly pronounced in certain regions, I imagine.
Precisely. Notorious changeability of mountain weather often catches even experienced hikers completely off guard. Conditions shift dramatically from sunshine to severe storm in minutes. Underscores extreme unpredictability in specific contexts. Strong warning of inherent risks. On broader scale, climate change unfortunately amplified changeability of seasonal patterns worldwide, directly linking term-depressing global issues, far-reaching environmental implications affecting us all.
A fundamental, undeniable characteristic of our atmosphere, then. And I've often heard the term used metaphorically, too, describing human emotions or situations.
Yes, very common, remarkably effective metaphor. One might describe a person's mood as having changeability mirroring erratic weather outside. Metaphorical usage extends compellingly beyond literal weather, describes fluctuating, often unpredictable human emotions, temperament, showcasing powerful descriptive capabilities.
Closely tied to changeability is unpredictable, a quality truly testing planning, resilience, adaptability, constantly reminding us nature often has ultimate last word.
Unpredictable means precisely that, unable to be accurately foretold or forecast, largely due to frequent or erratic changes. Despite monumental scientific advancements, some phenomena remain notoriously difficult to foretell with certainty, retaining inherent mystery element.
So even with sophisticated meteorology, still a significant element of the unknown we contend with.
Absolutely. Unpredictable weather often compels event organizers to have extensive backup plans, contingency strategies, highlighting absolute necessity of adaptable planning, foresight in any outdoor venture. What's truly fascinating, too, is how term extends far beyond meteorology. Stock market's unpredictable nature often aptly compared to stormy seas. Powerful metaphor discusses compelling application to other complex volatile systems, outcomes inherently difficult to foresee, connecting natural world to human constructs.
As a great parallel, powerful, unseen forces of nature and intricate, often chaotic forces of economics can both be equally volatile, challenging to anticipate, and specific geographical areas often grapple with particular unpredictability forms, don't they?
Yes, they do. Coastal areas frequently face highly unpredictable tides, influenced by complex interplay of winds, moon phases, other atmospheric conditions, connects term to natural variability in specific geographical contexts. Multiple factors converge, creating intricate, hard-to-predict patterns requiring constant vigilance.
When weather truly pushes boundaries, goes far beyond norm, we categorize it as extreme word, immediately signaling severity, urgency, often significant danger.
Extreme describes weather conditions notably very high in intensity or degree, distinctly denotes conditions far outside typical or average range, very often carry profound, far-reaching consequences for populations, environment.
So not merely bad weather, weather operating at most severe, potentially destructive.
Exactly. Extreme winds can cause widespread damage to roofs across entire neighborhood, focusing directly on severity, tangible physical damage inflicted. Many regions globally experience extreme temperature variations annually, highlighting significant and sometimes brutal contrasts endured throughout a year, scorching summers to bitter winters.
And this term, extreme weather, used frequently in critical climate change discussions, isn't it?
It is, very much so. Scientific consensus points to extreme weather events becoming more frequent, often more intense, due to global climate change. Ties term directly to global trends, pressing environmental concerns, underscoring growing, very real impact of severe weather on planet inhabitants, demanding urgent attention, adaptation strategies.
But not all conditions are extreme or challenging. Sometimes weather is wonderfully favorable, truly welcome word, bringing sense of ease, advantage, good fortune.
Favorable describes conditions, particularly winds, blowing in direction directly aiding movement, travel, activity, encapsulates profoundly positive, advantageous, propitious quality. Suggesting nature working in your favor.
So that wonderful feeling when nature actively works with you rather than against.
Precisely. Favorable winds can significantly speed up sailboats' journey across bay, detailing direct benefits for navigation, efficiency, smoother passage. Likewise, airline pilots frequently wait for truly favorable conditions before takeoff, emphasizing critical safety, operational advantages for aviation, ensuring safer, more efficient flight path.
So a blessing for travel, movement, human endeavors. Broader natural examples too.
Yes. Favorable breeze can gently carry pollen to distant fields, playing crucial role in plant reproduction. Connects term to vital natural biological processes like fertilization, dispersal, demonstrating how even gentle weather patterns profoundly support enable life.
Expanding scope from daily, transient weather to long-term, enduring patterns, we naturally encounter climatic conditions. Takes us far beyond immediate forecast into broader environmental character.
Climatic refers to anything related to long-term characteristic weather patterns of specific geographical area, fundamentally about enduring averages, seasonal variations, typical conditions over decades or centuries, rather than day-to-day forecast. Root climate emphasizes enduring quality.
So essentially defines regions' fundamental inherent weather character over time. How does that manifest in nature?
Climatic shifts, for example, demonstrably altered migration patterns of many bird species. Connects term to significant ecological impacts, showing how long-term weather changes fundamentally influence animal behavior, breeding cycles, entire ecosystems. Academically, researchers frequently examine vast climatic data sets from past century to discern long-term trends, providing crucial historical context for understanding environmental changes, making future projections.
And it must intrinsically shape the very environment, life thriving in particular area, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Distinct climatic conditions prevalent in tropics naturally favor sustained lush, dense vegetation like rainforests, clearly illustrates geographical specificity, how consistent long-term patterns of heat, moisture, or sunlight dictate plant, animal life type robustly thriving, creating unique biomes.
And finally, we arrive at a stark, profoundly impactful reminder of weather's ultimate power influence, famine. Word with immense human significance, often devastating consequence of prolonged adverse weather patterns.
Famine describes catastrophic situation with severe food scarcity, leading to widespread hunger, malnutrition, death across population. Represents grave, tragic consequence, directly linking severe, persistent weather to human survival, societal collapse, profound humanitarian crises. Etymology speaks to deep hunger scarcity.
Truly profound, often heartbreaking outcome of natural events. Most direct weather-related causes of famine.
Prolonged, relentless droughts are primary weather-linked cause, very often leading to widespread famine in arid, semi-arid regions. Sustained lack of rainfall devastates crops, depletes water sources, destroys livestock, stripping communities of ability to feed themselves. Conversely, extreme floods can also destroy crops, infrastructure, leading to similar food shortages. When famine strikes, international aid becomes absolutely vital, providing emergency food, medical assistance to alleviate immediate horrifying effects.
So a challenge that has plagued humanity throughout history continues to do so.
Indeed. Historical records consistently, tragically show strong correlation between widespread famine and severe weather disasters. Prolonged droughts, devastating floods, extreme cold snaps provide sobering long-term perspective on profound, devastating consequences of extreme weather throughout human history, underscoring fundamental reliance on stable climatic conditions for survival.
What an absolutely incredible and comprehensive journey we've taken through these 35 plus C1 level weather words. We've truly deepened our understanding of how English captures everything from the subtle breath of the atmosphere to the most extreme forces of nature. We've navigated from the intricate science of meteorology and atmospheric pressure through the dynamic interplay of fronts and vapor. We've experienced the powerful verbs describing transformation, from a sky starting to clear up to things drifting or being soaked, and even the metaphorical thaw. We then plunged into precipitation's power, comparing downpours, cloudbursts, and torrents before considering puddles or snowdrifts. Our exploration of air's force took us from gales and whirlwinds to breezy days, culminating in thunderclouds and thunderclaps. Then we shifted to the sensory experience, contrasting critical visibility with dense fog, misty mornings, and hazy heat. We explored mood influence from dull or gloomy days to glorious sunshine. Our deep dive into temperature extremes covered baking heat, scorching hot conditions, freezing cold, and the balance of temperate climates. And we wrapped up considering overarching qualities, changeability, unpredictable nature, extreme events, favorable conditions, climatic patterns, and the profound human significance of famine. These terms offer you a richer, more precise, and frankly, more captivating way to discuss the ever-present world around us. I wholeheartedly encourage you, our listener, to consciously seek out these new words in your reading and listening. Start incorporating them into your own writing and conversations. You'll be amazed how much more vividly you can express yourself.
What's truly fascinating here is how deeply our language is intertwined with natural phenomena, allowing us to describe everything from a breeze's subtle breath to a gale's devastating force. This raises an important question for you to ponder. How does the unique climate of your region, your personal environment, shape the specific vocabulary you naturally use to describe weather? And what might that reveal about your culture's deeper relationship with the natural world? What nuances do you prioritize in your own language?
That's a truly wonderful thought to ponder long after our deep dive ends. If you found this exploration helpful and illuminating, please do take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the Learn English Lab YouTube channel. Your support genuinely helps us continue to bring you these in-depth explorations and enrich your English journey. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the language of weather. Until next time, may your skies be clear and your words truly impactful.